Okay, hi everyone. We're very excited you're here at the webinar of Highlights of Israel Alternative Protein Report. My name is Shani Dayan from C4IR Israel, and I will be hosting you this webinar. This is a very exciting event in a collaborative effort of Israel Innovation Authority, C4IR Israel, the World Economic Forum, and GFI Israel. The webinar is recorded, and you can add questions and answers at the bottom upstairs throughout the webinar. And I will show you the agenda for today. And we'll begin with Dror Bin, the CEO of the Israel Innovation Authority, that will say a few words.
Thank you very much, Shani, and hello, everyone. Very happy to be here and open the webinar. I think it's not a secret that humanity is facing challenges in many fronts these days, but surely one of the fronts is food security, and climate crisis. By 2050, the world population is going to grow to about 10 billion people. It's estimated that by 2050, there will be an increase of 50% in the consumption of meat. And as you probably know, animal agriculture, including the crops and pastures to feed them, accounts today to almost 20% of GHG emissions. So you understand the magnitude of the challenge that we are facing in terms of being able to feed everyone in a healthy way and also have enough food given climate change while not accelerating climate change. It is an increasing global challenge to ensure a sustainable food system, but we believe that science and technology are a major factor in driving diversified pathways to find the solutions. Alternative proteins, due to their deep tech nature, meaning longer time to market, high risk of developing the technology, higher required investment than in other high-tech sectors, all of those characteristics require government intervention that with the purpose to de-risk investments in those risky areas for entrepreneurs and private investors. And this is, I think, the picture that you can see in this report, the way the Israeli government, the Innovation Authority has paved the way for entrepreneurs and investors to create ventures, to build ventures, to grow ventures in this highly promising but also risky sector of alternative proteins. The way we did it was by direct investments in startups, by building joint infrastructure, by investing in applied research, by investing in developing innovative regulation to support those new foods, and so forth and so on. Today, we count about 80 different startups in the local ecosystem for alternative proteins. 15 out of them were created just last year in 2023. And in terms of private investments in this sector, today Israel is only second to the United States in terms of private investments made into alternative protein startups. I'm excited to launch the report on this leadership of Israel in the alternative proteins domain, propelling a significant global impact in driving improving global food security and driving climate actions. I would like to take the opportunity to thank all of the people that contributed their efforts into this report, which I'm sure all of you will find very interesting. I hope that this webinar will be interesting for you, and I hope that you will keep on and read the entire report and learn a lot from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dror. And now I would like to present Sebastian Backup, Head of Network and Partnership at C4IR and member of the Executive Committee at the World Economic Forum. Sebastian, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Shani. Thank you, everyone on the line participating in this webinar. And let me indeed start by thanking you, Robin, and the Israel Innovation Authority for the long-standing partnership with the World Economic Forum. Today's discussion and, of course, the underlying report are testament to this collaboration. I believe that we will hear later on a little bit more about the full spectrum of areas where we collaborate. Maybe briefly, for those who don't know, the World Economic Forum is the international organization for public-private cooperation, the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The center that I am responsible for is focusing on technology policy and digital transformation. I'd also like to extend really my sincere thanks to Mr. Shlomi Kaufman here on the call, who heads the International Collaboration Division, which is the home for our center in Israel. And of course, Daniela Partem, who heads the center, her team, and all the experts that have been involved in creating this important report that's underpinning the discussion. It's fair to say that C4IR Israel exemplifies our shared vision of helping decision makers and society really anticipate emerging technologies and drive their inclusive and human-centered adoption. The C4IR Israel has been the flagship center of our network, which now includes 21 centers in total. And we are really particularly proud to be part of this collaboration. Robin already spoke very briefly on the paper, so I'm keeping it even shorter. Protein diversification is a global imperative. I think there's no doubt about that. Next to other imperatives, of course, advancing sustainable production agriculture and driving consumer behavior change, it is a key lever for the variety of things, safeguarding nature, climate action, improving food security, and in that way also reducing inequality. And whilst there's a lot of focus on startups, and startups are incredibly important in all of that, as in many other sectors, as in many other emerging technologies, government leadership is absolutely crucial. It's important to support the necessary science. It's important to facilitate partnerships between the public and the private sector. It's important to de-risk investment. And of course, it's also important to facilitate a societal discourse on the ethical, human-centered and society-serving adoption of these technologies. So government is playing a core role. And the paper we're discussing here today really presents a compelling case study of such leadership by the Israel Innovation Authority. And well, all I have to say to close is really that this paper is here as a milestone. It's here to inform, it's here to share best practices, and it's here to underpin a constructive dialogue. We are starting this dialogue here today, looking forward to that. We will continue it next week in San Francisco at the Global Technology Meeting of the World Economic Forum and hopefully far beyond. So thank you very much, and back to you, Shani.
Thank you, Sebastian. And now I would like to represent, I'm sorry for that, Adi Bentov, Associate Director of Policy at the Good Food Institute. You can now represent.
Thank you, Shani, and hi, everyone. Today I'll be giving an overview of the alternative protein sector. But before I start, I just want to introduce GFI. GFI is an international nonprofit organization working to develop the roadmap for sustainable, secure, and just protein supply. We're doing so through science and technology, cooperative engagement, and policy, and we work as a global field catalyst. So let's talk about the global meat consumption. Despite increasing awareness, global meat demand shows little signs of slowing down. As Dror mentioned before, according to the UN, the global meat consumption is going to be double by 2050. So how are we going to feed 10 billion people? In the current situation, we're facing massive challenges. Industrialized animal agriculture is responsible for 20% of global greenhouse gas emissions, and this number is projected to keep growing, according to the World Bank. It's also the #1 cause for deforestation and the #1 user of freshwater resources that are becoming scarce. It's also the #1 user of antibiotics, which can lead to antimicrobial resistance due to overuse. According to medical experts, an annual toll of 10 million deaths from AMR is expected in 2050. Industrialized animal agriculture is also insufficient in terms of calorie converting rate and land use. 75% of agricultural land is used for raising and feeding livestock, yet it only provides 1/3 of the global protein supply. Given all of this, it's clear that humanity cannot continue producing protein in the same way it has for the past hundreds of years. Alternative proteins are a solution to these challenges as a value-added agriculture, a solution that is scalable, trackable, and market-based. We're talking about 3 main technologies: plant-based proteins, which are being produced directly from plants. Like animal-based foods, plant-based foods are composed of proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water, and these are utilized to create products that look, cook, and taste just like meat. The second technology is fermentation, which use microorganisms such as yeast, mushrooms, and microalgae to produce proteins and fats. And the third one is cultivated meat, which is a technology that creates genuine meat from animatic cells outside of the animal. These technologies are not working in silos. We're seeing these pillars starting to blend together to create hybrid products. We see plant-based ingredients like flavoring and fats being used in cultivated products. Fermentation-derived enzymes and proteins are being used in plant-based products, and the examples are endless. These kinds of synergies help produce better and tastier products for consumers and accelerate reaching the goal of price parity. Projections of the alternative protein market share are promising, with a high yield scenario of $470 billion in 2040, a new economic engine for the private and public sectors. But the private sector alone cannot scale this industry fast enough to address pressing global challenges, such as mitigating climate change, improving public health, and ensuring food security. That's why we need public funding and governmental intervention. Just like governmental support led to a massive cost reduction in key climate technologies like solar panels and lithium batteries, we need the public sector to engage and support the alternative proteins global ecosystem. I invite you to learn more about the alternative protein technologies and projections through our State of the Industry reports on the GFI website. Thank you.
Thank you, Adi. And now I would like to represent Ella Voltman-Ratzner, Vice President of Strategy and Policy in the Good Food Institute.
Thank you, Shani, and hello, everyone. Following Adi's overview of the field, I'd like to share the current state of private and public investment in the sector, where we are seeing an increase in the involvement of the food industry and specifically meat companies in alternative proteins. Some of these companies are launching private brands, investing in startups, or acquiring alternative protein companies. JBS, the largest meat processing enterprise in the world, invested in a Spanish cultivated meat company as part of a $100 million investment into the sector. Cargill, a global food corporation, invested in the Israeli startup Ale Farms, while also investing and partnering with a major producer of pea protein and mycelium-based company. Tyson, the world's second largest processor and marketer after JBS, has invested in the Israeli Believer Meat cultivated company. Some of the phrases on the right coming from leaders in the industry imply on the motivations of these companies to enter the field. Whether through investment or in-house product development, this support provides the alternative protein sector with not only the financial backing, but also expertise in scaling up manufacturing, marketing, and paving the way to the consumer. And while the private sector is increasing its involvement in the field, there is a growing recognition of the dominant role of governments in expanding the sector, as was mentioned previously by Sebastian. Countries worldwide are providing research and development grants, agricultural resources, support for the construction of manufacturing sites, and promoting regulatory pathways for these products to reach the market. Some of these examples include the US, where we're seeing alternative proteins included in the White House Executive Order on Biotechnology and Biomanufacturing. And last year, the FDA has granted regulatory approval to 2 cultivated meat companies. The Danish government has invested over 170 million euros in research, development, and production of plant-based food as part of a new climate agreement for food and agriculture. And China's first ever bioeconomy 5-year plan included a call to explore alternative proteins as novel food, including cultivated food. We see countries and multilateral organizations developing climate, food security, or food strategies where alternative proteins play a central tier in. The entry points for public support are different. In some cases, it is climate, biodiversity, and sustainability. In others, it's the economic growth and job opportunities, or the focus on health, food safety, and antimicrobial resistance. Alternative proteins can significantly contribute to each of these motivations. What we aim to show in our collaborative report is an additional approach for creating a national strategy that we believe can be relevant for other countries as well. Despite alternative protein investments still comprise only a tiny fraction of total climate technology funding. This is in spite of animal agriculture contributing to 20% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And while this graphic shows that we still have a long way to go, the investment gap provides a massive runway and opportunities in the space as a climate technology solution. And how much more is needed? ClimateWorks Foundation published their Global Innovation Needs Assessment that found that alternative protein sector could support almost 10 million jobs and over $1 trillion in economic value. This can be achieved only if government commits to $10 billion annually, including both R&D funding and commercialization, intended to incentivize private sector solutions and create an enabling environment to get these solutions to the market. Thank you.
Thank you, Ala. And now Ronit Eshel, Senior Director, Head of Climate Tech and Food Tech in the Israel Innovation Authority.
Thank you, Shani, and I'm very happy to see all of you join us for this webinar. I'll be discussing the Israeli point of view of the case study that we've been investigating in the report that was published. And so in research that we recently led by the GFI Israel, Shador consulting firm, and the Israel Innovation Authority, we identified that by implementing a well-structured national strategy, Israel could enable local alternative protein sector to play a pivotal role in shaping the domestic business ecosystem by 2030. With over 200 startups, over a dozen manufacturing facilities, 10,000 positions, 1/3 of them in manufacturing, Israel is poised to create $2.5 billion in export wages, taxes, and so forth. As of today, Israel is ranked second in global investments in alternative proteins, trailing only to the US with about 10% of global investments going into Israeli companies. As a small and smart country, Israel enjoys a few key traits, but then has a few key pillars that are missing in our ecosystem. And so we enjoy an early adopters market with the highest rate of alternative milk consumption in the world. We enjoy an entrepreneurship and venture capital ecosystem driven by government investment in high-risk, early-stage technologies. And we have a multidisciplinary academic knowledge by researchers from multiple proven track records in agriculture, biotechnology, and engineering. But on the other hand, Israel is missing a few traits that we are completing with collaborations with other countries. For instance, Israel is missing food industry giants like there are in Europe and the US that Ala just mentioned in her slides. The market size is too small for an economic value for the individual companies, and to create a well-lifted synergies within industries. And even when the government is fully engaged, the budget is still quite small. And so international collaborations that we have with other countries make up a key lever in our national strategic program. And so to harness and maximize the innovation in the alternative protein sector, the Israeli government, following a recommendation by the Israeli National Council for Research and Development, has designated alternative proteins among the top 5 priority R&D areas for Israel. And then a designated program was created to elevate every step in the R&D value chain from basic research and up to initial production. And I'll be speaking about glimpses of some of these programs that you can further read about in the report that we've published. The development and advancement of alternative protein technologies is held very deep in basic research. Israel has more than 70 active researchers today and over 300 researchers that are working in adjacent areas like biotechnology and microbiology and pharmaceuticals that could be engaged in the alternative protein continuous science to create the next generation of scientific discoveries. Applied research establishes intellectual property and is the foundation for forming new companies. And Israel Innovation Authority invested $18 million over 3 years in the cultivated meat technological consortium that comprises today 14 companies and 10 academic laboratories for the goal of reaching cost-effective production of cultivated meat. In the initial stage, the focus is on incubating startups with an emphasis on developing a product with commercial potential based on applied research that can span several years. The 2 large food tech incubators in Israel, Strauss Group's The Kitchen and Tnuva's Fresh Start, are responsible for establishing more than 25% of all alternative protein startups today. And as was mentioned earlier by Dror Bean, a record 15 new startups have started up in Israel's alternative protein sector just in 2023, to add up to the 80 that we have. The scaling up requires high capex equipment and infrastructure, often housed in a dedicated pilot plant. Israel invested in YD Labs Fermentation Center, which is a CDMO specializing in process development. That has won Israeli Innovation Authority's $13.5 million tender for fermentation services of up to 20,000 liters. spanning initial manufacturing. Allogene offers end-to-end synthetic biology solutions and was also granted a grant from Israel Innovation Authority, utilizing the genetic engineering procedures and automation to streamline construction of genetic libraries in pre-production and POC stages. We're very proud of our close partnership with the Ministry of Health that delivers regulation that fosters innovation as a key step for promoting the field in Israel, and a historic regulated cultivated beef, first of its kind in the world, was approved by the Israel Ministry of Health. To summarize, the Israeli case study in alternative protein with a growing ecosystem of more than 400 plus players, Israel is attracting global investment and is ranked number 2 in number of startups and global investments in the world, with over $100 million in government investment. 2023, the investment was doubled year over year and reached a record of $24 million just in 2023 alone. And with close partnership between all government offices, we've created an opportunity for the pioneering regulation in high regulated cultivated beef. And so, as I said, you can read more about it, and there's a lot more information in the report itself. Thank you, and hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, Ronit. And now, Mr. Shlomi Kaufman, Vice President and Head of the International Collaboration Division in the Israel Innovation Authority.
Thank you, Shani, and good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and thank you for this great opportunity. Thank you, of course, to the World Economic Forum and to Sebastian and your team to working with us on this important project, which I think brings, it brings and presents some achievements that has been, we worked in Israel for years and invested a lot. I'm really happy to be able not only to reach these achievements, but also to share them. And sharing doesn't mean only like sharing on the Zoom, but we happy to work internationally with friends, with partners, organizations through different networks that we run here out of the international division, and to achieve the most of it. As it was mentioned earlier by Ronit, and again, I want to thank Ronit and of course in GFI. And we cannot work alone, and nobody today can work alone on a global scale. And we need to collaborate. And we have very significant platforms that we work and are open to collaborate, whether with Asia, whether in Europe, and whether in other places. And as you can see here in this slide, we at the International Division run several different programs. One, of course, we're an associated country with Horizon Europe, where academia and companies or corporate can form consortiums, or from Israel, they can apply directly for grants through different tracks. And we're happy to provide, of course, all the necessary information about the potential. And of course, for those who are familiar with Horizon Europe, 35% of the budget goes to fight the climate change, and that of course fits this purpose. Other funding opportunities that we have and we can collaborate are through Eureka platform and program, where basically Israeli companies and companies who are part of this platform can form together and suggest R&D projects. And the other one are more focused bilateral, which is between Israel and Singapore, India and Israel, and Korea and Israel, and where we have also dedicated programs that R&D and collaborative project can be formed. Other than that, we work closely with multinational corporations on pilot projects, and of course, together with our countries that we partner with them on a bilateral basis. There are call for proposals that we run out of here together with various I would say innovative and funding agencies that we can work together. So this is, I would say, plenty of opportunities to work together, to share, to develop, and to move this important cluster, this important area into new horizons, to share and to make the world and to achieve the goals that we all aim for. Thank you so much, and good luck for everyone, and thank you for taking the time to participate in this webinar.
Thank you, Shlomi. And now I would like to present Daniela Partem, Senior Director, Head of C4IR Israel at the Israel Innovation Authority.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. So I would like to deep dive into what we do in C4IR Israel and in collaboration with locally and globally, especially with the C4IR network and the World Economic Forum. So thank you everyone for presenting this amazing ecosystem with the grand potential. So what do we do? And thank you, of course, Sebastian. I will highlight what C4IR Israel is doing as part of the network. What C4IR Israel focuses on is a few things. It focuses on local leading. Okay, sorry. So what we focus on is four silos. First, we wanna see how we can take the thriving local ecosystem, and now we're referring to the alternative protein ecosystem, and create a global ecosystem out of it. So first of all, whether it's collaboration with other entities in the Israel Innovation Authority, as Ronit or GFI or other organizations who focus on specific technological areas. First, we make sure which are the key areas which we should focus on and our potential for international collaboration. Then what we do is we see how we can take these cross-sector collaborations, whether it's with the public sector, NGOs, business sector, or the World Economic Forum networks and C4IR, and see what are the possible collaborations, which countries are interested in the same subjects, where does the global and local ecosystem stand, what are the disruptive technologies, so we can see where we can create the connection. Once we understand which sector we want to focus on and who we want to work with, we focus on knowledge sharing, vice versa. Israeli knowledge sharing with the world and the world sharing with us, whether it's leading countries that we see, such as we saw today in the different fields. What kind of strategies do the governments or any other industries promote, and what kind of collaboration is possible? And of course, last but not least, the technology companies, the startups, the ecosystem. What kind of added value we can bring from our ecosystem outside and from the other ecosystem to Israel to develop and implement these technologies. I would like to also show you what kind of projects we do in the Israeli Center to give you an idea of how we can take these disruptive technology and help solve global problems such as climate change, food security, and public health that we were presented here today. So we have projects with partners from the Israel Innovation Authority and from the WEF on bioconvergence. We have projects on autonomous air mobility, such as the Israel National Drone Initiative. We focus on disruptive technologies with a complicated arena, and see how we can help solve all these problems to create a thriving ecosystem. Along the years, we also dealt with autonomous vehicles and dealing with COVID data to see how we can overcome challenges of the COVID pandemic. What is our grand strategy? Our grand strategy is to see how all these silos come together, how we can create this thriving ecosystem. with the national goal that we promote through our startup nation and the startup ecosystem, and match it to the global potential. And through that, we could create the global impact that we saw. How we can take all our resources and enlarge the scale. What we've been doing in the past year together with our partners here today on unfiltered protein is to see how we can, how through the platforms of the C4IR and the WEF network can scale up our project. So we joined Davos in one of the biggest bioeconomy panels. We help and we promote Israeli companies and startup companies to apply to the innovators community. The innovators community is a community of the World Economic Forum and the C4IR to promote the involvement of startups in the global ecosystem. We had 67 applicants this year. By the end of June, hopefully we will know which of the applicants will be part of the Tech Pioneer community. Of course, this report, which we published today in Hebrew and English, in order for all of you to read about the Israeli use case and see how, whether it's relevant for you, whether you can learn from it and we can create joint projects. And of course, the communities of the World Economic Forum, such as the Food Innovation Network that we're part of, we have different representatives of different sectors, also in Israel and also from the world, discussing the main challenges of this ecosystem. And of course, meeting each other. Since we're here in a webinar and it's not easy to meet, we do try to arrange delegations and meetings such as the ones Sebastian just mentioned, GTR. So we met the World Economic Forum in Geneva a few months ago with our startup Israeli delegation led by Ronit. And joined by GFI as well. So we've been doing all these activity and we hope to continue in different fields with different stakeholders. So if you're interested to engage with us, please contact us, any one of us, Daniela, Shani, Ronit, Ala, or Adi, so we can work together on any subject that is relevant. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And thank you also to all our whoever joined us today and all the speakers. And of course, whoever put a lot of effort to publish this outstanding report.
Thank you, Daniela, and also for the ones who will watch us on YouTube later on. So now this is open for Q&A. If you have any questions, you can add them at the Q&A bottom. I will just mention that all of this, again, is recorded and will be sent to all those who signed up for this webinar. And you will be able to see also the presentation. I'll give you like a minute or two to ask questions, but are not going to be. We'll just continue. Okay, so we've been talking about this report. You can see the report here through our QR link, and you can also see it at the WEF's website and the Israel Innovation Authority, also in Hebrew and in English, as Daniela presented. Also, if you have any questions to the Israel Innovation Authority, there's also a webinar that will be held on June 3rd. And you can sign up at the Israel Innovation Authority website to join the webinar, to learn more about the activities and ask any question that you have. And I will close this webinar and say thank you for all of our partners, Ronit Eshel from Israel Innovation Authority, Ala Adi from GFI Israel, Sebastian Beckup from the World Economic Forum, and Dror Rubin, of course, who was here, the CEO, and Shlomi. And thank you for all your efforts to make this webinar, the report, and all the activities that are along the way that are coming to make this all happen. And we're very happy that you are here with us today.
Thank you, Shani. Have a nice day to everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.